In this video, I'm revealing the exact system that replaced a 50,000 a year human receptionist for a real estate and property management business. And I'm breaking down the exact system architecture that made this possible. And hey, if we haven't met yet, I am Mo from Retell AI, and we help SMBs transform their phone operations with AI voice agents that work around the clock and cost 15 to 30 times less than hiring additional staff. What I'll show you today is what we built for a real estate property management company, which is a client of ours, and we will start with a high-level overview of what are the different components of the system, and then we will go more granular, showing you the exact tech stack that we use to achieve this. Now, if at any point you think this is cool, it's interesting, and I want to see if this could actually, fit for my own business, then I do offer 5 free consultation slots per video, which you can find in the first link in the description. Please go get your slot quickly because those fill up pretty fast. With that said, let's jump right into it. All right, so let's start with a visual overview, show you the before and after when it comes to phone call handling. So let's imagine this real estate property management business, which receives, calls basically every hours, and how the system worked actually before for this specific real estate company is that every call was actually coming through the owner. Now, this is generally, not a very good practice, but what they were struggling with is that also a lot of these calls were actually spam calls. So even if they were, let's say, going to the team, most of them are actually spam. So they really struggled from being able to filter out the, let's say, genuine, person interested in the real estate services from, spammers actually calling. And so before, the call would come in to him, and then he would, of course, have to route everything. And they were looking for a way, so a system to basically at least filter out all the spam calls. But when, let's say, we get the qualified calls, then we're trying to, understand what is, the intent of the person calling. Is it for a specific project? Is it a tenant that perhaps has an issue or a potential problem? Or is it maybe someone that has a property which wants to, hire the company for property management? And that's really what we are able to kind of do nowadays with AI voice agents and generally automation systems, meaning that we can use tools such as Retell, Airtable, N8N, and we will go deeper now quickly on what each is for. Now, to do such a system with AI and automation, what you generally need are, for a basic build, of course, to solve this initial part of getting the, call and then handling, qualifying, and then transferring. So we have 3 tools: Retell, Airtable, and N8N. Retell handles the AI phone calling part. So that means that we are handling the, let's say, agent, the human sounding agent directly through Retell. Now, once, let's say, we set the agent in Retell, we need to be able to, store all the informations and, every call and how it went in some sort of database or some sort of record where the human agent or we can see, let's say, all the calls that come in, and we can determine and check how the call actually went. Because of course, when the AI is handling the call, we will not be involved. The AI is autonomously handling the conversation and then deciding whether it is necessary to route it to a human. So we need to have some sort of database that is going to record, every call that happened. But to do that, we need some sort of way to connect, the AI phone calling platform, so Retell in this case, with the database where we store all this information. And that's where N8N comes in. N8N is an automation platform that allows, builders to basically connect a lot of applications. And in this case, we're using it to really glue together the AI phone calling, platform to the database. Now, it's a lot more nuanced, but the very simple, let's say, structure can be really summarized in this case. So we can imagine that if we were to take the example of before, what will happen is that this call, let's actually maybe take it and go down here. So the call would come in, and what really happens is that they will call, through our, phone number, and the call really comes into, it's, to be very fair, like the way that it would work is that a call really would first go into, for this specific use case, would first come into Airtable, because we're checking whether this person is in our database. So what we are doing for our client in this case, we get the call and we check through an N8N, hey, is this person actually someone who we have in our database? So we do a lookup into the database and we say, well, maybe yes. If so, we will take the name. So let's say that this guy is called Bob, and we will say, hey, Bob, and we will greet them. We will take this information and we will pass it back into our Retell. And of course, really, it's passing through N8N first, really. And then we will go back to Retell. But then, the call happens. So the call will be, let's say, happening. So this is the, once the call has been accepted. And then once the call ends, we go back into the automation platform. We transfer the call there, and then we are recording how the call went. Like, we record the intent, we record perhaps if the person was transferred to a human. All the information is then being fed here and potentially updated. So we will update also the lead that we had, because Bob is someone who called before. If it's someone who didn't call before, then we will just not, greet them with their phone name, and we will just go ahead and go directly into Retell and proceed with the call. This is a general rough overview of how a inbound routing agent can look like. We didn't touch on the routing part, but basically what happens is that once the agent understood the intent and the user kind of needs to be routed, then from here we can route them here basically to the human team. Awesome. Yeah, so this is a rough overview. Now we will go ahead and go really deep into how the build looks like. See you there. All right, so here we are on N8N, and I will be showing you, the different stages of the call here directly in N8N. I need to be careful. I will not be showing you everything, because of course this is sensitive client data. I'll just give you the overview so you get an idea of what is possible with these tools. Now, the call, as I said, happens in Retell, and again, I cannot really go ahead and show you how Retell looks like, but basically there we have the entire prompt, which has all the instructions for the agent. And what's happening is that once the call has finished and has been completed, we are going to want to record it in Airtable, which is our database. And the way that we do that is that we use N8N as a platform to automate all of what is going on. And what we're really doing here is we're adding something called a webhook so that we can send information to it. It's like a sort of postal address that we have where we receive information into it. And the information that we're sending right now is the end of call report. So that means that once the call is finished, Retell is basically setting up this report, which will be sent to our home address, which is in our case the call analyze webhook. And from here, we're basically taking the information, we're extracting the information that we need, and then we're populating it into our Airtable database. Now, again, I cannot go into the Airtable database setup. It's sensitive data, so that should give you the idea. And basically what we're doing here is that we have two tables in Airtable. One is called the lead table, where we record every single, let's say, person that called us, irrespective of how many calls they did. Because what we then do in the second table, which is the calls table, there we are listing every call that a lead is doing. So basically what we're doing is that we have this relational database, which allows us to have one-to-many, meaning that we have one lead which can do many calls. And this allows us to have better tracking and understanding of what every person, like all the calls that every person did. So we can, provide more meaningful and just like more personalized calls. So basically, whenever they call again, we have the entire history of this lead, and we can really enhance their experience when it comes to their customer service with our business. Awesome. And then once we have recorded everything in Airtable, which we try to treat in this case as like the center, like where we store, it's like the single source of truth. In our case, our client uses GoHighLevel as their central CRM. And it might be confusing why we're using two different platforms, or Airtable and GoHighLevel. Personally, it's a lot easier to have things being sorted in Airtable because it's a lot quicker. GoHighLevel can be a bit tedious, but of course many businesses use it for their day-to-day operations, and it's a requirement to sync up where all their leads are. So that's what we're basically doing. We're syncing it both in Airtable and in GoHighLevel. And Airtable is basically a good way to just filter out everything and have everything related to the AI phone calling agent, which allows us just to track things better and have it more fluently. Now we're also doing a lot of SMSing. So that means that while we're calling the people, not sometimes, we actually want to collect their email. And what we're doing is that we collect their email on the call. And then what we're doing also is that we will send them an SMS to just verify that we collected the email correctly. Because oftentimes when we are in a call conversation, there might be some misspelling and some issues when it comes to recording the exact email. So what we're doing is that we are sending them an SMS, and we are telling them, hey, like here is the email that we collected, and then we are basically asking them, hey, if this is correct, you can leave it. If it's not, please type your correct email. And we are doing that intelligently so that once they reply with their email, we're going to grab their email and then update our Airtable. And then a very, let's say, important thing when it comes to, let's say, client's requirements was being able to understand the intent, understand also who, like based on the intent, who to transfer to. So what we have set here is that once the time for, let's say, transferring the call to a human agent comes, what we're doing is that we're sending a, let's say, signal, a tool call into N8N again, because we want to check who is the correct person to send to. And we have all this information stored in Airtable, because you can imagine that human agents are not always available, right? So they have specific timelines, like timetables, and we store everything in like Airtable in this case, where we're going to check what's the current time right now and who is available right now. We also have intelligent filtering by language and by project expertise. So we take all these into consideration, and we are basically saying, okay, awesome, these agents are available, and we're going to transfer to one of them. And that's what's happening here. Of course, if someone is available, because oftentimes no one is available. So what we're doing here, so for example, if someone calls in after hours and a human agent is actually needed, is that we're saying, okay, no one is available right now, but what we're going to do is that we're going to have a call after hours or a callback, let's say, list, where we will create like a ticket and we will add you there, and we will call you within the next 24 hours. So this is a very, let's say, comprehensive way to capture, everyone that is calling, even if, an agent is not really available. And this is how we built a inbound routing agent that takes in every call that comes in and routes it to the correct human agent. And if you at any point felt, hey, this is actually interesting, I want to explore it for my own business, then I do remind you that we offer 5 free consultation slots per video, which you can find in the first link in the description. And we will have a chat, understand your business, your situation, and see whether AI voice agents are a fit at all. And with that said, I also invite you for watching how to build your first AI voice agent step by step in this video. See you there.